Dillon Gabriel took yet another sack in the third quarter, and boos poured down from every corner of the stadium. Not just for the quarterback, but for the choices that kept Shedeur Sanders off the field. The decision to stick with Gabriel, despite weeks of lackluster play and mounting losses, has become indefensible. With a game against the Ravens on the horizon, insiders say the Browns' front office is bracing for potential chaos. A loss could trigger the firing of Kevin Stefanski and elevate Sanders into the spotlight as Cleveland's new hope. The moment of reckoning is no longer looming. It's here.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
All signs point to a franchise on the verge of a massive reboot. The disconnect between coaching and player potential has reached a boiling point, with even national analysts now publicly questioning Stefanski's job security. Sanders' prolonged benching, despite his readiness and growing fan support, symbolizes a larger dysfunction. If Cleveland fails to act decisively now, they risk dragging the franchise into another multi-year spiral of mediocrity. With a potential debut for Sanders on the table, Week 11 could mark the beginning of a new chapter, or the final nail in the coffin of the current regime. The Cleveland Browns are spiraling. Again, and this time, it's not just the scoreboard that's setting off alarms. It's the sideline. During their loss to the New York Jets, a moment was caught on camera that shook the fan base to its core. Rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, standing helmet in hand, locked in a heated argument with head coach Kevin Stefanski. That wasn't just frustration. It was a boiling point. And now, the entire city of Cleveland is watching this team unravel in real time. Let's start with the obvious. The Browns have talent. No one's arguing that. On paper, this team should be competitive. But talent without direction? That's a recipe for chaos. And chaos is exactly what's playing out. The locker room is fractured. The offense is stalled. The coaching staff is under fire. And through it all, Shedeur Sanders still hasn't taken a single regular season snap. Not one. The same fans who cheered his arrival are now chanting for his debut. The same analysts who praise his preseason performance are now openly questioning why he's not starting. And after that argument with Stefanski, it's clear that even he is tired of waiting. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel remains a starter, despite week after week of poor decision-making, multiple sacks, and misfired passes. And sure, no one wants to dump the blame entirely on one player. But let's not sugarcoat it. The offense is flatlining, and the guy under center is a major part of the problem. The fans have seen enough. Every bad snap, every misread, every delay of game, it all adds fuel to the fire. And now, that fire is spreading from the stands to the sidelines and into the front office. The team is fractured, and it's no longer behind closed doors. The argument between Shedeur and Stefanski didn't just go viral. It validated what everyone was already feeling. This team doesn't know who's in charge. And when your rookie quarterback is calling out your head coach in the middle of a game, that's not passion. That's desperation. The reaction was immediate. Social media blew up. Hashtags like #FireStefanski and #FreeShedeur started trending within minutes. Browns fans weren't just angry, they were done. Done watching their team underperform. Done being gaslit by post-game pressers. Done waiting for a coach to make the right decision when the entire league can see what needs to happen. And it's not just fans speaking out. Former NFL players, analysts, insiders, they're all calling it what it is, mismanagement. They're questioning why one of the most promising quarterbacks in the league is being sidelined for a system that clearly isn't working. Dillon Gabriel is struggling. The offense has no rhythm. And yet, week after week, Stefanski runs it back like the outcome will magically change. Then, as if the storyline needed another twist, in walks Max B, the legendary rapper, fresh out of prison, makes his first public appearance at this game, specifically to support Shedeur Sanders. In Cleveland, in person. That's not a coincidence. That's a message. Max B's presence became a symbol, not just of support, but of change. He stood in solidarity with what a growing number of people believe, that Shedeur isn't just another rookie. He's the future. And every game that passes with him on the bench feels like time wasted, momentum wasted. And now, the whispers inside the organization are getting louder. Rumors are swirling that the Browns lose again, especially against the Ravens, a brutal division rival. Then Stefanski could be done. Gone. Fired midseason. And not just him. Reports suggest the staff is under full review. Offensive scheme, quarterback decisions, locker room culture. It's all on the table. This isn't just speculation. It's what happens when a team refuses to adjust until it's too late. And here's the thing. Shedeur isn't just waiting in the wings. He's ready. You can see it in the way he carries himself and how he commands attention. He's not rattled. He's not backing down. And that argument with Stefanski, that was a player holding his coach accountable because he knows he can lead. That kind of fire, it's rare. And in Cleveland's current mess, it might be the only thing worth betting on. But this isn't just about a quarterback swap. This is about an entire organization standing at a crossroads. Keep going down the current path. Same system, same coach, same quarterback, and we all know how that ends. More losses, more dysfunction, another wasted season, another rebuild conversation in December. Or they can pivot. They can recognize that the locker room has checked out, that the fan base is fed up, that the future of their franchise is literally standing on the sideline, ready to play. And for once, they can make the bold move. If Shedeur gets the nod, the pressure will be immense. Expectations will skyrocket. Every throw will be dissected. But here's the difference. He wants that pressure. He's not hiding from it. He's stepping into it. And that's more than can be said for the coaching staff right now. Let's not forget, the Browns have been here before. Cycles of dysfunction. Promising rosters wasted. Young talent mismanaged. This isn't new. But what is new is that they actually have a player who can change that cycle. A quarterback with pedigree, poise, and the drive to lead. And they're letting it rot on the bench because they're afraid of rocking the boat. The boat is already sinking. Reports suggest that as Stefanski is let go, the new interim head coach could start Shedeur as early as Week 11. That might be the only good news left in this storm. Because whether performance, locker room politics, or sheer fan mutiny, something has to give. This situation is untenable. The fans know it. The players feel it. And based on that sideline argument, Shedeur Sanders knows it better than anyone. He's ready to take over. He should take over. And if the organization has any sense of urgency left, they'll let him. Because waiting another week, another game, another quarter, it's not just a bad decision. It's a wasted opportunity. A wasted season. And possibly the final nail in the coffin for a coaching regime that's already lost a locker room. The Browns are at a turning point. And they don't need another committee meeting to figure it out. They need a decision. They need leadership. They need Shedeur. Drop a comment. Should Shedeur start now? Or is there something the rest of us aren't seeing? Like this if you're tired of waiting for this team to get out of its own way. Share this with your group chat of long-suffering Browns fans. And subscribe if you're here for the truth, the chaos, and whatever happens next. Because let's be honest, this isn't just a quarterback controversy. This is Cleveland football. And it's always personal. At this point, the only people who aren't seeing the obvious are the ones calling the shots inside the Cleveland Browns facility. The team is unraveling. The fans are howling. The national media has circled like vultures. And yet, somehow, Shedeur Sanders, the rookie QB with the bloodline, the talent, the fire, is still standing on the sidelines holding a clipboard while the franchise burns in front of him. It's gotten beyond embarrassing. It's offensive. This isn't just a slow football season. This is an act of betrayal of what this team could be. A roster with real potential has been reduced to a weekly implosion, complete with sideline screaming matches, locker room rifts, and one very public meltdown between the face of the future and a coach who might not even be around to see next month. Shedeur Sanders arguing with Kevin Stefanski on live television wasn't just a sideline spat. It was the loudest, clearest signal that something is deeply broken inside this franchise. That a rookie, who hasn't even taken a regular season snap, felt the need to confront his head coach in the middle of the game, says everything about the level of dysfunction behind the scenes. That moment didn't come out of nowhere. That was frustration they'd been building, week after week, drive after drive, watching the team flush away winnable games under a quarterback who can't get it done. Dylan Gabriel has had opportunities. And to be fair, the issues with the Browns run far deeper than him. But the reality is this. The team is not winning with him under center. He's taken multiple sacks, thrown ill-timed passes, and failed to convert in the most critical moments. At some point, the coaching staff has to stop protecting feelings and start protecting the season. And it's not just fans who've had enough. Analysts have been brutal. Former players are straight up calling it malpractice. Even Cleveland legends are weighing in, saying what everyone's thinking. Shedeur Sanders needs to be starting. Not next year. Not in the offseason. Right now. And yet, the team is paralyzed, stuck in some bizarre loyalty loop where poor performances are tolerated, talent is shelved, and accountability only exists for players, not coaches. What exactly are they waiting for? Another humiliating loss? Another post-game press conference full of vague deflections and empty words like process and trust? Another week of Shedeur standing on the sideline while the offense goes 3-and-out for the 6th time in a row? This team doesn't need another week. It needs a wake-up call. And maybe that's what that argument was. Maybe that sideline moment with Shedeur saying, enough. Enough waiting. Enough wasting time. Enough acting like this is normal. It's not normal to have this much talent and this little direction. It's not normal to watch the team fall apart while the guy who might be able to fix it watches in silence. Except now, Shedeur's not silent. He's vocal. He's frustrated. He's standing 10 toes down in front of a head coach and saying what needed to be said. And let's be clear, that takes guts. That's leadership. That's someone who believes in himself enough to demand more from his coaches, from his teammates, from the franchise. And still, he's not playing. It's almost surreal. Like the Browns are committed to proving a point, even if it costs them the entire season. At what point do they realize that playing it safe has gotten them nowhere? That clinging to the status quo is dragging them further into irrelevance? This is a team that has flirted with greatness so many times only fall apart because they couldn't or wouldn't adjust. And now we're watching the same cycle unfold in real time. The Browns have a game against the Baltimore Ravens looming. And let's be real, if the team walks into that matchup with the same setup, the same quarterback, the same strategy, it's not going to end well. The Ravens aren't a team you figure things out against. They expose you. And based on where the Browns are right now, they're primed to be exposed. Which brings us back to the most important question of the entire season. Why is Shedeur Sanders still on the bench? What exactly does he have to do? How many losses? How many broken plays? How many locker room meltdowns does it take before the coaching staff admits they need to make a change? Because every delay is another hit to morale, another week the fans check out, another wasted opportunity to salvage a season that's slipping away. And it's not just about wins. It's about trust. The Browns fan base is loyal, but they are not blind. They've seen this movie before. They've watched talent wasted, regimes implode, and wait till next year become a sick joke. They want to believe in this team. But belief has to be earned. And right now, the Browns are doing everything in their power to lose it. The fact that it took a public confrontation, broadcast of the world, for people to finally start talking seriously about playing Shedeur says everything about the way this team is run. And the fact that he still hasn't been named starter, that's incompetence dressed up as strategy. Let's talk about the internal damage this is doing. Reports are already coming out about division inside the front office. That some decision makers are ready to move on from Stefanski and start fresh. That others are still clinging to a plan that clearly isn't working. And then there's a locker room, where sources say players are picking sides, leadership is being questioned, and trust in the staff is eroding by the day. This is how franchises break from the inside out. Shedeur Sanders has become more than just a player. He's become the line in the sand. Starting him doesn't just shake up the depth chart. It resets the culture. It sends a message that this team is finally ready to compete, not protect feelings, not play politics. Compete. And if Kevin Stefanski can't see that, if he's so committed to a failing plan that he's willing to go down with it, then the rumors are probably right. He won't be around much longer. Sources already believe that if the Browns lose to the Ravens, he's done. And if that happens, you can bet the interim coach won't hesitate. Week 11 could mark the beginning of a new chapter. One where Shedeur Sanders finally takes the field. One where the Browns stop waiting and start doing. It could be the moment everything changes. But if they hesitate, again, it's over. The fans are ready. The locker room is cracking. The national spotlight is locked in. And Shedeur, he's still standing there, waiting to lead. So what now? Is the front office willing to make the move? Is this coaching staff prepared to admit they were wrong? Or are they going to watch it all go up in flames just to prove a point? Because the next few weeks will define the future of this franchise. They can ride this storm into another offseason of regret, or they can hand the reins to someone who actually wants it. Someone who's not afraid to hold people accountable. Someone who's ready, right now. Shedeur Sanders has nothing left to prove on the bench. It's time to find out what he can do on the field. And here's the thing no one in the Browns front office seems willing to say out loud. This entire situation stopped being about football the second Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski went at on the sideline. That moment wasn't just a disagreement. It was a fracture, a very public, very loud crack in the foundation that this coaching staff has been pretending is stable. You can't walk that back. You can't spin it in a press conference. You can't brush it off with emotions were high, because the fans saw it, the players saw it, the league saw it, and everyone came to the same conclusion. This team is divided and it starts at the top. Shedeur didn't just argue because he was emotional. He argued because he's fed up. He's watching a broken system take down a team that should be thriving. He's watching a head coach prioritize a struggling starter over real momentum. And he's watching a season slip away. Not because the talent isn't there, but because the leadership refuses to let go of a plan that's clearly failed. Let's be real. If you're Shedeur Sanders, how much more are you supposed to take? He hasn't seen a single regular season snap. Not one. Despite showing out in the preseason. Despite being handpicked by the franchise to represent the next era. Despite every analyst, former player, and fans saying the same thing. He's ready. Meanwhile, the guy starting, Dylan Gabriel, he's drowning. His numbers don't lie. He's getting swallowed by pressure, missing reads, and turning in performances that would have gotten any other QB benched 3 games ago. And yet, he's still being trotted out like this isn't a crisis. It is a crisis. The locker room is turning toxic. The sideline is tense. And the fan base is boiling over. Everyone knows what the answer is. But the people in charge would rather lose their jobs than admit the obvious. That's what this is now, pride. Not logic, not football strategy. Just stubborn pride. You can feel it building. The pressure, the exhaustion, the disbelief that a franchise with this much potential would keep stepping on its own toes. And it all points back to Stefanski, who, by all accounts, could be gone as soon as next week if the Browns lose to the Ravens. That's not a rumor anymore. That's a full-on storm warning. And if it happens, there's already chatter about what comes next. Insiders are saying the new interim coach would have the green light to start Shedeur immediately, not after a few weeks, not after evaluating reps, right away, which makes the decision right now even more absurd. If everyone knows Shedeur is the next man up the second Stefanski is gone, then why wait? Why not rip the Band-Aid off and give this team a shot at saving its season? What are you protecting? A locker room that's already fractured? A scheme that's already falling apart? There's nothing left to protect. The season is slipping. The coach is spiraling. And the quarterback room is a mess. The only thing left is the future. And right now, it's sitting on the bench, ready. And you know what else? It's not just Cleveland watching anymore. This story has gone national. The Shedeur Stefanski blow-up went viral. The Maxby moment at the game sent a shockwave through social media. Even people who don't watch the Browns are invested now, because this isn't just about football, it's about what happens when a franchise refuses to adapt. There's something symbolic about it. You have a young, talented quarterback who represents hope, leadership, and the next generation. And then you have a coach clinging to a fading plan, desperately trying to avoid the spotlight as everything falls apart around him. This team is at a cultural crossroads. Either they embrace the future, or they keep dragging themselves through the same cycle that's plagued this franchise for years. Let's not forget, this is a team that has lived through quarterback controversies before, and most of the time, it ends with wasted potential and another rebuild. But this one is different. This one could actually change things. Shedeur Sanders is the kind of talent you build a team around. Not next year, not someday, now. And if they blow this moment, if they wait too long and lose him, whether through frustration, injury, or mismanagement, it won't just be a coaching mistake. It'll be a legacy-level failure. One of those what could have been stories that haunts a franchise for decades. So yes, it's that serious. Yes, it's that urgent. The Shedeur decision isn't just about a quarterback swap. It's about whether this team is willing to get out of its own way and finally evolve. It's about whether the Browns want to lead with vision or sink with ego, because the longer they wait, the worse it gets. The harder the recovery becomes. The more fractured the locker room feels. The more fans check out. The more players stop believing. And make no mistake, players are watching this just as closely as fans are. When they see a teammate with talent, fire, and leadership skills being iced out for no reason, they start asking questions about culture, about fairness, about whether the people in charge actually want to win. So what happens next? That's the question Cleveland is holding its breath for. If Stefanski loses to the Ravens, the decision might be made for them. But wouldn't it be something if they didn't wait that long? If they made the change before the collapse? If they finally took control of their own story? If they gave Shedeur Sanders the keys and said, go save this thing. You know what to do. Drop your take in the comments. Are the Browns making the biggest mistake of their season by keeping Shedeur benched? Hit like if you're done waiting for this franchise to wake up. And subscribe if you're here for every twist, meltdown, and coaching casualty. Because no matter how this ends, it's going to be loud. And we'll be right here for it.